Welcome to Blood in the Snow Radio, where we give you the latest news and interviews with the best in Canadian genre cinema. Here are your hosts, Robert Bellamy and Festival Director Kelly Michael Stewart.
And Blood in the Snow 2024 continues. If I get you to introduce yourself and your project, and then just a little synopsis of what it's about.
Sure. My name's Dan Nicholls. I directed a short film called Stuffy, and it's about a couple who sets off in the middle of the night to dispose of their kid's stuffed animal because one of them believes that it might be possessed.
And I have to ask, are you a parent?
I am not a parent. No.
Because I was going to say, I can understand the kernel. Once you become a parent and you get these weird kids' toys, you swear half of them are possessed. Where did this come from, this idea?
This idea of the Stuffy? That's a good question for the writer. I'm not sure what exactly spurred him, but definitely what, I guess the genesis of making of a short for me was realizing, oh, hey, we've got a story here, which is genre for sure. There's blood, there's gore, there's a haunted stuffed animal, but really taking a look at mental health as well. That and relationships. To me, the film is really about how to be a partner to somebody who's struggling with mental health issues. You know, so if you're someone who's in a relationship and your partner is incredibly anxious or depressed, that can be a very difficult thing to contend with, you know?
I could see that because all through the opening of the film, you're going, okay, he thinks she's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess in hindsight, too, you would wonder, what would you do in that situation if your partner came to you like that?
Yes.
Would you buy in all the way or would you take a step back?
And, that's kind of what we asked ourselves a lot throughout the making of it with every action. I mean, not a lot. Some scenes were rewritten because we were like, I feel like, at this point he storms away, but, at one point he was going to drive away. And we were like, I think maybe he would just chill for a bit before jumping, to that. But I think for him, for the Mark, it's Mark and Emily. I almost just want to call them by their actor names, the character names, Mark and Emily. He starts off like the stereotypical guy way, let's not confront any feelings. Let's hide, push it away. This is nonsense. And I guess if I can get into spoiler alert, by the end of it, a light spoiler, he realizes that that's not the way to address this problem. And I mean, if you've ever, again, I'm not a parent, so the kid stuff wasn't really my in on the story. It was more the relationship and the mental health issues. But when you're in a situation like that and you're suffering and your partner is saying, yo, snap out of it, just be happy, that doesn't help,
Yeah.
It takes them having to say, okay, you know what? Your reality is now my reality, but I'm going to help you find your way back home. I'm going to go to this place with you and hold your hand. A lot of times if somebody's depressed or anxious, it's easy to say, oh, stop it. That's not true. Your life is great. But what if you say, okay, let's say that this is really as bad as it is. Now what? What are we going to do together? What do you think we can do to get out of it? And that's just sort of that breaks new grounds, I think, for a relationship. I'm speaking from personal experience. I definitely identified more with Emily in the film, and finding what's worked with me and how I respond to things. And so it really is kind of to me, a tribute to just learning to be the best partner that you can be, even if you can't see the Stuffy with the knife. If your partner believes that it's there, maybe believe with them for just a moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you could tell that there was that aspect of it there with him, only because they were in the car, which means, this conversation happened at home, and at some point they got in a car together and drove out to the woods.
Exactly.
So he's trying to
precisely yet. Yes.
Yeah. But like you said, where's that line?
Yeah.
We
talked a lot about as most filmmakers would, the scene immediately before we start the film. And we were like, okay, how many times have they been there? We're like, probably a few times. What's going to make this one different? I think it's that she's even in her costumes, it seems like she's somewhat prepared. She's got a shovel in the car. She's got a jerry can of gas. She's wearing a hoodie and runners. He's coming out in pajamas and slippers. and loafers, basically. But he's going along with it. Again,
Yeah.
he's making those little steps. He's not fully there yet, but he's like, he hasn't given up, of course.
Yeah, I've got your back, whatever we got to do.
Yeah.
But I'm not buying into it.
Yeah, exactly.
The one thing that I thought was cute was the little jingle, what they kept hearing on the radio.
Hop, hop like a bunny.
Yeah, where did that come up? Like, how hard was it to get that for the film?
I don't know what I Googled. I think it was just like a lot of Googling of like Easter music, or kids' Easter music or something. And I found this song online and I sent it to the guys and I said, this is the type of like annoying on the nose bunny jingle that we would need. Sorry, I shouldn't call it annoying, but the children, the repetitive, repetitive jingle. I was like, guys, we need to do something like this for the film. And they were like, why don't we just use this? And reached out to the people who made the song, and we told them exactly what it was about, and they loved it. They're like, that's great. Use the song. We're like, you sure? Like, she's going to stab the bunny, and there's going to be intestines. So like, use it.
That is awesome. And that night shoot, how hard was that? Because I know I've shot at night, and it's difficult to light.
It's so difficult to light.
Yeah. How hard was it for you guys to do that?
Very.
There we go.
The film we shot over 3 nights, 2 at Deas Island, a little park, I guess near Richmond in BC, and then the 3rd night in a park in West Van in some mountains. Difficult for sure, especially because you have to then be, if we're lighting the room that we're in right now, we can boost it with light and everybody will believe like, oh yeah, it's just that bright in that room. We see the light on the ceiling. We know that it can be that bright. But when you're out in the dark where there's no light, we had to be very conscious of what is the source, So we only really had like a couple of big set lights that we put up to kind of act as, a lamppost when they're parking the car, or like the moon in a couple shots when they're far
The headlights.
off. Yeah, exactly. And the rest of it was stuff like, the headlights lighting the car. It's tough to tell, but we boosted the brake light of the car so that when they're at the trunk, they're like lit a little more red. But then the biggest piece of it is the lanterns that they're carrying, which you think is a prop. And you're like, yeah, you got to carry the lantern. But then you realize, oh, this is how we're going to light this thing too.
Wow.
Right? Thankfully, like our Luke Strom, our cinematographer, is a genius. So when I said it's dark, it's going to be kind of weird, we're going to be on the car moving, he's like, we'll figure it out. But yeah, difficult. The most difficult part was definitely the 3rd night, lighting that, because like the first night we were like, you can even see it when they're driving up. There's like a lot of ambient light in the sky. You can, I think at one point, see a plane like going by. Like they're leaving the city to go to the woods. So then by the end of it, when they're like deep in it, it was more difficult because we went from a controlled area to a completely uncontrolled.
Yeah.
So a lot of time is spent just carefully moving lights. When she finds the crib in the middle of the woods, took a lot of time because the path to get there was very narrow and very slippery. So we had to go there, build the crib, get the lights set up, rehearse it with the actor. And Alexa's incredible. I told her on the day, I said, like, we're going to start this shot later. There's a shot when she starts walking towards the crib, all hypnotized. I said, we're going to start it later so we don't see you going. It won't be that, it'd be kind of cool if we saw you going from the start to it, but for your safety's sake, I'd rather you not have to step over this one rock. And she was like, no, I can do it. And did it, no problem. There's always that, you want everybody to be safe.
Yeah.
But, there's some things are uncontrollable. If someone slips, like anybody could slip. Nobody did. Nobody got harmed.
Especially out in the woods.
Out in the woods.
In the dark.
In the dark. Who's going to help you?
So it's not a flat ground.
No, no, not at all. And then it starts snowing.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
It's like, how can we make it worse? But it turned out great. Like,
thank you.
The lighting, that's why I wanted to ask, because the lighting out there was like spot on.
Yeah.
Nothing seemed out of place, which is so hard to do when you only have headlights and a moon as real sources of light.
That's really, really nice to hear. Thank you very much, because that is, of course, like our biggest concern. I mean, even, when the snow does, it's serendipitous. Like, when the snow falls, it's not like it just shows up in the middle of a shot. It kind of starts falling right when he discovers her and makes the decision, okay, I'll be part of this world. But just like the way that our set lights far off in the distance were hitting the snow, and a couple lights closer too. It was very, very minimal. So again, thank you very much for saying that, because people don't, I think, realize, they're like, oh yeah, you need a light, but you need a lot of light to pick up an image on camera.
Oh yeah.
It's not just like turn a flashlight on.
Well, like you said too, you need a source. Like you need a believable source.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part out in the woods, I think. And you guys got it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear.
So what's in the works? Have you got something new coming up that you're working on?
Ooh.
That
Always
you can talk about.
Always cooking. Always stirring the pot. I shouldn't. Not doing that, but cooking up a good old gumbo in the pot. A couple of shorts that I'd like to make soon-ish. I've got, especially being back here, being here for the first time, I've got the itch to make something again. Being around all these creative individuals and seeing all these shorts and being like, each one being like, I really love this shot in this one. I really love that. So I've got a comedy drama two-hander short film that Alexa, who starred in Stuffy, she and I are writing together. Another short film about an influencer. It's kind of a suspense thriller. Another one that she and I wrote together that we got nominated for a couple of awards, so we might pursue that and try to get some funding. I made a short film a couple of years ago called That's Life, and the writer of that has written a short he wants me to take a look at. But, we're always looking forward to the next thing, and I think features would be the net. People think that you go shorts to features and it's that easy, and it's really not. And they're all lateral on the same surface. You can move around. However, we've also got a couple. My good friend Julian and I have written a script together, and he's got one that I'd love to co-direct called The Wolf and the Fox, based on the Brothers Grimm fairy tale.
Oh, excellent.
That is a 78, 79-page horror film, straight horror, terrifying, about a relationship, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's terrifying. And as soon as I read it, I was like, I want to help you make this ASAP. Let's do it. So, this is a part of the program where we say, if you're listening out there on the internet and you've got some money, why don't you just hit us up? You can watch Stuffy.
Yes.
If you like it, I'll send you a link. You can see Giraffe, That's Life. More of my shorts, actually, at dannichols.com. Hey, look at that. Just picture myself.
There we go. And watching Stuffy? Oh, definitely. Yeah, you should get involved. Absolutely. Absolutely. Last question, though. Do you still have the rabbit?
Do I still have the rabbit? I actually do.
Really?
I actually do. We made six of them for the shoot, each with a different purpose. Yeah. There's one you can put your hand in, like an actual puppet. There was a couple with just for rods and wires when it's moving. I kept the one that we made stand with movable legs, and I had it set out. I thought it would be cool. Look at this thing that we had, and my wife is like, "Get that thing out of the living room right now." Showed it to the cat. I'm like, "Look, it's a new friend." The cat's like, "I don't even want this thing around.
Nope.
Get it out of here." So right now it's in my closet as a memento. But PD Bunny, I'll always hold on to him because he holds on to a piece of my heart.
That is excellent. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. This has been a blast.
Good luck in the festival.
Thank you.
Join us next time for Blood in the Snow Radio. Bits Radio is a production of Three Evil Cats Productions in association with the Blood in the Snow Canadian Film Festival. For more information and to listen to other episodes, visit bloodinthesnow.ca and tweet us at BitsFilmFest. Music by Jan Gorman, produced and edited by Kelly Michael Stewart. I am Eduardo Correa Lima.